Om Shanti. This is the Sakar Murli of the 8th of October 2022. Essence. Sweet children, this study of yours is for the intellect. In order to make your intellects clean and pure, interact with your families tactfully. Take precautions with your food and drink. Question: how is God's activity very wonderful and incognito? Answer: the activity of making each and every one settle his and her karmic accounts is very wonderful and incognito. No matter how much someone tries to hide his or her sins, they cannot be hidden. Punishment definitely has to be experienced. Each one's account is kept up above, and this is why the Father says, if any sin is committed after belonging to the Father, then by telling the truth, half will be forgiven and the punishment will be reduced. Don't hide anything. It is said, someone who steals a straw is the same as someone who steals 100,000. By hiding it, one cannot imbibe virtues. Om Shanti. In whose remembrance are you sitting here? You children understand that the mother and father, Bap Dada, will come here now. They will come and give you your inheritance. You are once again claiming your inheritance of heaven from Baba, as you did 5,000 years ago. This would be in the hearts of all of you. The haystack of hell is now to be set on fire. You don't have any connection with the people of this world. For you, knowledge is incognito, and the inheritance is also incognito. An inheritance from a physical father is visible. This is my father's property. You can see it with your eyes. You can see your father and also your inheritance. However, you souls are incognito. You can neither see souls nor the Supreme Soul with those eyes. In a physical relationship, you consider yourself to be a body. You see it with your eyes, and you also see your Father who gave you the body. You see your teacher and your guru too. Here the Father, teacher and guru are all incognito. You children know that each of you has now received a third eye of knowledge. Previously, you didn't have that third eye. Souls were sleeping, and they are now being awakened. Therefore, souls are incognito. Just as a soul comes and enters a body, in the same way, Shiv Baba also enters this body and is now making us into the masters of heaven. The intellect also says that you have claimed your inheritance for half a cycle from the Father many times. You then lost it for half a cycle. We are now once again establishing our kingdom by following Srimat. The one who gives us Srimat is also incognito. You souls know that you are listening to the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, in an incognito way. You definitely have to become soul conscious. First is the soul and then the body. Souls are imperishable, and the Father is also imperishable. The body that the Father takes is perishable. He enters this body and says, "Child, child." and reminds you that he has come to inspire you to make effort for the deity golden-aged self-sovereignty. You have to make full effort. In the golden age there will just be your kingdom. You used to rule the kingdom, and then you had to take rebirth. Only those who belonged to the dynasty of Sri Krishna and were part of the deity clan will remain. There won't be anyone else. Even those of the moon dynasty won't exist there. These things are very easy to understand. Truly, there were no other religions in the Golden Age. Now there are so many religions. They continue to fight and quarrel among themselves. There is so much conflict. In the Golden Age there is just one religion, and so there is no conflict. Therefore, you children are establishing your kingdom in an incognito way. Each of you would say that you are making effort to claim a high status in your kingdom. So you also have to have that much courage. Your name is Shiv Shaktis. No one actually rides a lion, but that is just the praise that is shown. It is why Shaktis are shown riding lions. You don't actually sit on a lion. You are those who are going to conquer Maya. You show this bravery, and that is why your name is the Shiv Shakti Army. In fact, there are also brothers, but the majority is of women. You take everyone from the impure family path to the pure family path. You know that you were very happy in the Golden Age, in the land of Vishnu. There was everything, purity, happiness and peace. Here there is so much sorrow. When a child is disobedient in a family, he causes so much trouble. There they are constantly cheerful. You know that the unlimited Father has come once again to give you unlimited happiness. The Father says, "You may live at home with your families, but simply make your intellects imbibe this. This study is for intellects. While living at home, follow Srimat. You are still affected by your food and drink, and this is why you have to be very tactful. Each one's karmic accounts are his or her own. Some are in bondage and others are free from bondage. Some cleverly buzz knowledge and ask permission. Many methods have been explained to you. Tell them, the Father's orders are, become pure. I have come to give you the fruit of your devotion. Therefore you definitely have to follow God's directions, because it is only then that you will receive liberation and liberation in life without experiencing punishment. There is a burden of the sins of many births on your heads. Just as the Father gives liberation and liberation in life in a second, in the same way, punishment is also received in a second. However, that suffering is severe. For instance, when people sacrifice themselves at Kashi, a lot of punishment is experienced in a short time, but the karmic accounts are settled. You have to settle your karmic accounts without experiencing punishment. Therefore, make such effort that you don't have to experience punishment. It is good to remember Baba. Destruction is just ahead. The Pandavas had loving intellects at the time of destruction. The Father personally came and enabled you to have love. What would you do by having love for others? All of them are to be destroyed. Make deep effort to remember the Father. Externally, you may ask your friends and relatives about their welfare and how they are, but let your hearts be attached to the one Father. A physical lover and beloved remember one another while at home. You have become lovers of Shiv Baba. He is personally in front of you. He remembers you and you have to remember him. Shiv Baba enters this body and makes you souls become engaged to him. This is called the benevolent meeting (Mela) of souls with the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. You are the Ganges of knowledge, and the one Father is the ocean of knowledge. Your sins will be absolved by remembering the Father. The Father doesn't give you any other difficulty. You simply have to remain pure. Lust is the greatest enemy. By conquering it, you will become the masters of the land of Krishna. The Father's orders are, become pure and you will receive a kingdom for 21 births. Instead of becoming impure, it is better to remain pure and wash dishes. However, because body consciousness doesn't break, you even lose your inheritance. Look how great the Father is. He has come into the impure world and entered an impure body. People worship Shiv Baba in the Somnath temple. Look how ordinarily that same Baba is sitting here now. God himself is now giving you teachings, and if you don't follow those, your status will be crossed out. The Father says, children become pure. Now all are corrupted. Those who remain pure are called elevated. The government gathered together a group of sannyasis and asked them to make everyone elevated. However, only in the golden age do elevated ones exist. No one can be that here. Only those who are pure are said to be elevated. Sannyasis are pure, but they still take birth through impure ones, because this is Maya's kingdom. No one here takes birth with the power of yoga. The Father explains to you children, always keep your heart clean. Let there not be the slightest arrogance. It is good to become completely poor. The Father is the Lord of the poor. Wah, poverty, wah. The poor have to be made wealthy. The Father says, I make Bharat wealthy from poor. Only the people of Bharat will become that, and in that too, only those who follow Srimat will become that. Only they can become the masters of heaven. The Father teaches you easy Raja Yoga in order to make you into the masters of the land of Krishna, or heaven. The Father's order is, become pure. We don't accept any human beings as our guru. There is a lot of conflict because of purity. Someone would be beaten. Someone would be thrown out of the home. And so what can she do? The Father gives her refuge. However, it shouldn't be that when you come to Baba, you remember your relatives and continue to cause a loss. In that case, you would be lost to both worlds. If you don't imbibe knowledge, you can't reform yourself. You would then continue with the same activity as before. You mustn't commit any sin here. You have to become charitable souls. On the basis of Srimat, ask yourselves whether something is sinful or charitable. Baba explains, whatever sins you have committed, by telling the Father about them, half of those sins are erased. Many children say, I did this. This is my crime. I became impure in that way. The Father knows how many sins you have committed. He explains, don't commit any more sins. Otherwise the punishment will be 100-fold, and you will then be given visions of that in the land of Dharamraj. You used to commit sin and then hid it in that way. Nothing can remain hidden. Although it cannot be seen, the Father knows everything very clearly. The whole account remains with Dharamraj. God's activity is very wonderful and incognito. It is said, that person must definitely have committed sin, for that is why he took birth in a dirty home. Therefore that sin is definitely accumulated. There is the account up above. That account is now here, and this is why the Father continues to tell you, you mustn't commit any sin now. It is said, a thief who steals a straw is the same as a thief who steals 100,000. You should understand that you are committing a great sin, and that your status would thereby be destroyed. If you don't imbibe virtues, you can't do God's service. You also have to benefit others. If you just continue to waste your time and commit sin, your status will be reduced. Then that would become your status for cycle after cycle. Therefore, make as much effort as possible. You are asked why you go to Baba. You say, to claim the Sun dynasty and Moon dynasty inheritance. Therefore, you definitely have to follow Srimat. Check that you don't perform any bad actions or commit any sin, otherwise there will be 100-fold punishment, and you will then become maids and servants. You have not come here to become that. You say Mama and Baba, and so you should become Narayan from an ordinary man, should you not? How would you claim a status without imbibing knowledge? If you say Mama, Baba, and don't sit on the throne of the mother and father, it would be understood that you didn't study fully. Mama and Baba become Lakshmi and Narayan from an ordinary woman and ordinary man. The mother and father are teaching you the same thing. Therefore, you should claim your full inheritance from the Father. Many continue to commit sins secretly and don't tell Baba about them. No matter how much you explain to them, they don't stop doing that. When a thief has developed that habit, he can't stop himself stealing and telling lies. You should only speak the truth to the true Father. Tell the Father, I committed this sin. Forgive me. Maya made me commit sin. Acha, you have at least spoken the truth, and so half of that sin can be forgiven. Otherwise, sins will continue to increase. Some say that they have to commit sin in business. Because businessmen commit sin, they put something aside for charity so that their sins are reduced. After committing sin, to use that money for charity is also good. If you are able to salvage iron from a sunken boat, that too is good. That Father is establishing heaven, and so everything will be used for charity. Those who give donations and perform charity do receive something. The Father explains to everyone. The Father gives directions for everything. Therefore, you children should never perform such actions. However, Maya doesn't leave anyone alone. If some of you see something good, they quickly pick it up and eat it. By performing such sinful actions, they destroy their own status. Some children say, "Baba, Baba," and then let go of Baba's hand. What would their condition become once they leave Baba's hand? Maya will eat them raw, and they won't then remain worth even a shell. It is number-wise. In the land of happiness, someone will rule a kingdom, and someone will be ordinary. There will also be maids and servants. You children are now receiving the inheritance of unlimited happiness from the unlimited Father. This is why you have to follow the Father's Srimat and claim your full inheritance. Death is just ahead. There is untimely death. When an aeroplane crashes, everyone dies. Does anyone know in advance that that is to happen? Death is just over your heads. Therefore, you must make effort to claim your full inheritance from the Father. You may perform actions for the livelihood of your bodies according to Srimat. Together with that, also study this study. Baba gives you all the methods. You have to make effort and stay pure. Rather than becoming impure, it is better to sweep floors or wash dishes. However, you have to become soul-conscious. There is respect for purity. If you don't become pure, you won't receive a status. This explanation is given to all the children. The number of children will continue to grow. Many subjects are also to be created. One king has to have thousands of subjects. It requires effort to become a king. Acha. To the sweetest beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the Mother, the Father, Bap Dada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual father. Essence Vedana 1. At this time of destruction, have true love in your heart for only the one Father. Stay in the remembrance of one. 2. Remain constantly true to the true Father. Don't hide anything. Make effort to remain soul-conscious. Never become impure. Blessing. May you experience God's love by being detached from waves of sorrow and become filled with the treasure of happiness. At the time of the confluence age, many things that bring waves of sorrow will come in front of you, but do not let those waves of sorrow make you internally unhappy. In the hot season, it will be hot. It is up to you to protect yourself. So, while hearing of these things of sorrow, do not let them affect your heart. When you are detached from those waves of sorrow, you will be loved by God. Those who are detached and loving to God can be filled with the treasure of happiness. Slogan: only those who easily recognize the many forms of Maya are Trikaldashi, brackets knowers of the three aspects of time, and Trinitary, brackets ones with a third eye. Om Shanti.